What up, y'all? Chris from the Unreal Engine Brush checking in on today. It is, Thursday. It is the 10th of November. It is grey and wet and horrible outside, but I go on holiday tomorrow, so that is what I'm thinking about right now. This video is a project debrief, which is going to be something I'm going to try and do around my commission projects. So today we'll be going over the Sons of Horus I painted for one of my clients. I absolutely adored this job. It composed of one of my favourite things in the world, loads of infantry and a few really big tanks. So I'll go over the models and display them off. I'll talk a little bit how I approached the project and how I got the result and the finish that I did. I think it took me all in all 6 days to paint all this, so I was able to whack it down to 20 infantry in one day. The Cataphractii Terminators took a little bit longer because of the amount of trim and details on those, but I'll talk about that in the video. So here you go, have a look. If you've got any comments or would like to know anything about this project, let me know. And thank you very much for watching. We'll check back once we've gone over everything. So the meat and two veg of this army, as with most Heresy armies, is going to be the Tactical Marines. So this army consists of two 50-man Tactical Marines with chain bayonets, there's some Vexillers, Sergeants, so on and so forth. I can't get over how wonderful the Mark 6 models are to paint. They genuinely paint themselves. So the client asked me to paint this army to coincide with the Warhammer TV painting guide on YouTube, which, you know, is nice and easy enough. Sons of Horus layers, minimal washing, a couple of metallics just to make it pop. So this is really easy to manage. I started with spraying them all Sons of Horus through my airbrush. You can do all of these without an airbrush, but for the purposes of time and to let me do what I need to do, I airbrush this layer on. Then gave them that wash of Pterodon Turquoise, which is a 5-to-1 mix of contrast medium with the Pterodon Turquoise. Let that dry. Dry brush of Sons of Horus back over. Dry brush of Sybarite Green, just add a little bit of a green pop. There you go, that's most of the armour done. It is quite subtle, but again, when you've got 20, 30 of these guys running around, it looks great when it's on the table doing what they need to do. Metallics dead easy, lead belcher, then use normal oil and dry brush with a nice shiny silver, Stormhurst silver or MIG light silver, whichever you want to do. The Volkite guys are exactly the same, apart from I added some bar red over the coils just to give it a little bit more of a sinister glow. And then the gold is just Balthazar gold. Genuinely is that simple. The eye lenses were Mephiston red with a little bit of game colour scarlet, just to make them shine a little bit, and then the barrels of the Volkite guns were painted with Elven gold from Scale Colour. That's pretty much it. Black Legion to do all the black carapace underneath and to do the gun casings. Simples. Right, the Cataphractii. So the Cataphractii took the longest out of this project, purely because of all that trim and all the extra details that they have over the Mark 6, so this is where the separation can really be seen between the models. Again, exactly the same process. Because of all the recesses and panelled armour on these guys, you can see that dry brush and that shade a little bit more prominent, which is nice. The Terriers were painted with mahogany brown from Game Colour. Otherwise, the process was exactly the same as it was with the Mark 6. Sons of Horus, Black Legion contrast with the black bits, highlighted with Mechanicus Standard Grave or a fine edge highlight. Genuinely is that simple. The claws, exactly the same as the other metallics, lead belcher, wash and dry brush. If I had my way, I would have used Basilicanum grey instead of non-oil, just because that darks the metallics down a lot more and lets that dry brush show a little bit better. I'd have also liked to have done some washes and highlights on the Balthazar gold, but wasn't in the brief, so it's not getting done. Likewise, for transfers for this army, I had to use what was available in the Age of Darkness box set and the vehicle, so I'd have liked some more white transfers, but I did the best of what I got. If the client wants to send about with some more transfers, I'd gladly add them. Adore this Praetor, super happy, took me about an hour to do. Some airbrushing for the cloak to get that nice red on there. I thought that transfer was a nice little addition, and because there's nothing else for those to go on, I may as well use it. Did a little bit more effort on the Balthazar gold here, just letting him stand out. Red chain fist, the red casing on the combi melter. A little bit of time taken on the face to make it really paladin and stand out. Love him, what a champion. Right, now it's time for the proper tasty bits. So these two Sikora Megas I managed to paint within 8 hours, using a combination of the Warhammer TV guide as per the client, and then a couple of bits that I wanted to add just to really make them stand out. So I used my airbrush to push that Sybarite Green just to really make it look a bit more luminous. The transfers were applied and then weathered suitably with sponges and tearing with a scalpel. Then the metallics were upped a little bit just to be a little bit brighter, because again I want these tanks to stand out and be the centerpiece of the army. The plasma coils I'm relatively happy with. It was my first go at having a go with red glowy coils. It took a couple of attempts. At first they went pink and then they were too white, so I decided to meet in the middle with some glazing just to give them the effect that they were getting ready to fire up. The heat bloom on the end of the barrels again just adds that really nice splash of colour to this army. Nice bright lenses using, what did I use? I used ball red contrast over a silver base layer. I then filled it with Targor Raid Shade, which is one of my favourite shades from GW at the minute, and then did a little highlight of Scarlet from Game Colour. Once that was all on, I weathered with a little bit of Rhinox Hide. I used some Sons of Horus just to go over the black stripes, just to make them look more weathered. Then, likewise, I used the bright silver I did for dry brushing on the metallics, just to really, really finely feather and spot just a few metallic highlights and weathering on those models. Really, really super chuffed with these. To get these two done in under 8 hours, I'm really, really happy with. And now it's time for the centerpiece of this army, which is this wonderful Kratos. I've got one of these in my Space Walls, and I immediately want to get one for my World Eaters just because painting them is an absolute joy. So, approach this the same way as the Sicarans, use the Warhammer TV guide. I upped the Sybarite green a little bit just to make it stand out that bit more. Applied that fiery hots effect to the coils using oranges and ice yellow from Game Colour and then a red glaze to bring it down. Purple heat bloom effect on the end of the barrel just because it's nice and sinister and wonderful to look at. All the black is done with Black Legion, so that's over any colour underneath up to now, which would be the Sons of Horus, the weathering, the varnish. I can't tell you how wonderful that paint is just for going over bits you need to be black. Transfers applied, weathering added, some enamels with rust streaks and streaking grime, just add that kind of sinister worn effect on it. And then the weathering powder is just Dark Earth from AK Interactive applied liberally on the tracks and on the skirts and the front where it's all going to build up. Genuinely can't tell you how happy I am with this. I painted it in about 6 hours in a working day, which included a trip to the post office and a phone call, which took about an hour. And everybody loves a black stripe, so I gotta add some on those in there, and a white transfer on the black stripe looks amazing. One Kratos done, absolutely love it, send me more. So there we go, that's the Sons of Horus project for this 30k army sorted and gone over. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm really, really pleased with how everything turned out, and the client seems very, very happy too. Maybe one day I'll be able to throw some Space Walls or World Eaters at them, that'd be great. So if you're interested in a commission of your own, if you want to know a little bit about my pricing or the timescales, what my schedule's looking like, drop me a message. I'm always happy to help if I can. If you want to know a little bit about how I painted these, give me a message. If I can do some tutorials, I will. Otherwise, I'm taking commissions over next year. If you want to do some one-to-one tuitions to have some help with your painting, give me a shout. I host them over Zoom or Discord or Teams or whatever it is you want to use. I've also got a painting workshop coming up at the end of January on the 28th, which is a Saturday up in Belper in Derbyshire. That'll be covering how to paint a Black Templar Space Marine and an Orc Boy in quick times to show you how to paint those models to a really good standard. More information on all of that on my social media, so don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Check me out on Facebook at The Unrelenting Brush. Check me out on Instagram at the_unrelenting_brush. And my YouTube channel, which is just The Unrelenting Brush. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in a bit. Have an amazing weekend. I'm off on holiday. Peace.